How's it going, guys? Berek here and Joe with episode number 15 of the Equity Podcast. Today we're talking about 4 takeaways from the 2021 Open. We haven't really talked about the Open that much lately at all, so we figure, hey, we might as well hop in and do it.
4 podcasts. Yeah. All right, so for the lineup today, we have, in the warm-up, we're talking about our takeaways from watching some of the professionals do the workouts. For our heavy lifting, we're going to talk about 3 takeaways for us normal people from the Open, like what we learned. And then for the cool down, we just have some general frequently asked questions.
Yeah. So warm up.
Yeah, warm.
The pro side was really interesting this year. I think, but before I get into like my takeaways, I think the biggest thing you have to say is Matt Frazier not being there.
Yeah, that's just weird.
Yeah, him dropping out. I did not follow all of his Joe Rogan stuff because I don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't even look into it. I didn't listen to that. It is what it is. I don't even know what to comment on because I didn't listen to it.
You're not
but
a GRE
anyway,
fan?
so it was just kind of weird. There's just a giant opening in there, and we're going to see who can fill it.
Yeah.
So my first thing was Tia. This is actually unofficially she won the Open, and this is her first Open that she's won.
Is it?
Yeah, she's never won the Open.
Oh yeah.
But she's won it for the past 3 years. The games the past 3 years. So, we're gonna get into some takeaways later, but like it doesn't matter what it is, she's crushing it. Like fitness, it doesn't matter how advanced or how quote unquote basic it is.
Yeah.
She's still there crushing it.
I think she's Frasering a little bit, and to almost more of an extent than he has been in the past.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then Brooke Wells went to train with them as well, so that was really interesting.
Yeah.
My other one was the young ladies. There was a 16-year-old in like the top 25 this year, which is mind-boggling. And then I think a 17-year-old had the second highest score in 21.3 or 21.4. So like there's some young ladies coming up that are just crushing it. Haley Adams, like seeing her, she did really awesome. Her strength stuff is starting to get there. It's really, the young ladies have just been so impressive. Yeah, impressive.
We've seen a bit of it in the past, but now we're really seeing the kids that are born and raised in CrossFit gyms, and this is their sport entirely.
I feel like Haley was the first one.
Haley was the start of that.
She won some of the teens, the teen events like at the games. She's won the games as a teen, I think multiple times, and now just hopping right in. It's really, really crazy how fit they are. And then my last takeaway is kind of going back to the Matt thing is Noah. I was kind of expecting Noah to be up there. Like he's always done really well at the Open. But like he's still right there. Even with that stupid haircut, he's still doing awesome.
Yeah.
And then who really surprised me and literally came from nowhere for me was Scott Panchek. I don't know, like he was team last year, and then they ended up not doing team.
Yeah, no, he's not.
And I didn't know he was coming back to individual, but he's like 3rd right now. I think he's in the top 5, I believe, and I don't think he's ever done that well in the Open. I don't know if he's been top 5. Like he's always done really well at the games. He's always that guy I think he's gotten 4th like 3 years in a row or something like that.
Yeah,
and just to see him up there. And I don't know why. There's just something about Scott I like. Well, he's just cool. Yeah. And then him and his brothers, it's just fun. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just something. It's kind of like the Smith brothers as well with Alec and Ben. It's just like they're just good dudes, and like they have that like brother rivalry, or not rivalry, but they're always working together and stuff. It's really cool. So Scott blew me away.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of his MO too, to just like not be there and then be like, I'm here.
Right.
And he does that at the games too. He'll just like show up finally on like the top of the leaderboard somehow.
Yeah, just really consistent.
Yeah. My big takeaway from watching the professionals compete in the Open this year is everyone makes mistakes, even professionals. I'm sure a lot of you probably saw Alex Smith put an extra 10 pounds on the one side of his bar and almost failed the lift. Like at a professional level, you should catch that, or your judge should catch that.
So when he cleaned it, he caught it and he noticed it was, and he looked to the one side, like he could actually see it, but he like actively looked to that side, like what's going on? It's not funny, but it's funny.
Have you done that before? Like lifted and bar the Smith loaded? It's not fun.
Yeah, no.
I've almost
or like you're back squatting and you just kind of take it off of the rack and you're like, oh, this isn't right.
And you can feel 5 pounds.
Yeah,
it's and then another thing is, a lot of people screwed up this. Like even a lot of professional people didn't follow exactly the standards for the wall walks. Granted, it's a new movement.
Yeah, it was just so easy. Like when we do wall, when I saw that workout come out, I was like, we got this. Yeah. We got this. Like we do wall walks frequently, and it's not a modified movement. Like everybody does the wall walks, right? Like they're really hard. So when it came out, I was like, yes, we got this one. It's going to be really good. But what we do, a lot of times what people do is that one foot's on the wall, and just like when you run, right, it's opposite foot, opposite hand. Mm-hmm. When you're walking up, you're doing that same thing. So I have one foot on the wall, so I start moving my hand as well, and now with their standard, both feet had to be on the wall. So a lot of people were just starting just a hair too. It was like half a second, just 3-6 inches of a no rep, but that adds up. Yep. And the games site, they even sent out a thing, hey, remember to review the standards for that wall walk. Yep. And we didn't have any issues. All of our people hit it, and it was super awesome. I mean, obviously some people got a no rep here or there, especially when they got tired, but like we were awesome with that standard, so it was really cool. Yeah.
And I think that just means people watch our podcast where we said review the open workout.
I hope so. I hope so.
Like 4 views.
Do you have anything else from the?
That was my big thing. Yeah.
It was cool to see Danny Spiegel. I like. She's pretty cool. It was kind of cool to see her up there. I think a Canadian one, Jeff Adder. He's been around for a while. He won the guys, so that's cool. And I'm excited. I really like the quarterfinals thing. I guess that's one of my.
That'll be interesting to see.
As a little bonus takeaway is the quarterfinals from it's. I think it creates so much more engagement. For example, like I'm right on that buffer if I'm 90% or not, but. Like after the open, there's no chance of me going anywhere before. Yeah, I couldn't do anything. But now with that 10%, like that's obtainable for a lot of people. So like that just gives you something to reach for and something else to kind of push you. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that and then see how the professionals, those pros, take it. I guess interesting.
One more thing. It was interesting to see. We're seeing more of the generalists being almost better than the specialists now. Like with Tia, I think she won or almost won or was really up high on 21-1. And Carrie Pierce did it. And you would think Carrie Pierce would win that workout. She was like 50th.
Right.
Like, and she's a gymnastics specialist. Yeah. And it's interesting to see a lot of like generalists getting above there. I think we're getting to the point where like the higher level generalist athletes, generalist is a weird term to use now.
Like she's known for gymnastics.
Yeah, she's known for gymnastics. She should win a gymnastics workouts. Yeah. And people that are good at everything are now being better at everything than the people who are good at one thing. Yeah. It's really interesting to watch that.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So, this podcast takes time and effort. Joe does a lot of editing for us, and we sit down and we do research beforehand as well. It takes time and effort. So, we have 2 sponsors that really help us out. The first one is Rogue Fitness. We have a affiliate link with them. So if you go to equity.fitness/Rogue, there'll be a little breakdown talking about what Rogue does and how they do it. And then there'll be a little link that you can click. So if you're ever buying something for somebody's birthday or you need something for your garage gym because you want to work on, your weaknesses, just go to that link and it helps us out. And, that money, stays inside of the gym so we can do fun stuff like this. Yeah. So that's really cool. And then the second thing is, you can see us right now. We're in front of the garage, back to our old setup. And what that means is summer's coming, right? It's starting to get nice out. And we want to build fitness to live our life to the fullest, right? We want to be able to go pick up our kids. We want to be able to go stand up paddleboarding. We want to do those things. Obviously, like that's like most people, that's their main why. I want to be able to live my life. I also kind of want to look good when I do all those things. I want to be able to take my shirt off and feel comfortable or do that. Like, obviously you should feel comfortable in whatever body you are in. But that doesn't mean we can't strive to be a little bit better in all aspects of our life. And, it feels good to look good. So we're running our summer body ramp up. So it's kind of like a mix between nutrition challenge and some midline program. There may be some curls in that program as well. So be on the lookout for that. You can email Krista at krista.bryan@equity.fitness and, start getting ready for that summer bod.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, so for the heavy lifting today, we're going to be talking about some takeaways for us normal CrossFitters. And the first thing we're going to look at, like that you can take away and that you can reflect on from your open performance, is what were your weak points in the open?
Yeah. We had 4 workouts, 3 weeks. Most people probably had an outlier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a for example. I had 3 workouts where they were all kind of very similar. I had one really good one, and then I had 2 that were pretty good, and then I had an outlier that was way down there. So I had a 94 percentile, a 9, and then like a 91 and a 90, and then my 21.2 was 74th percentile. It really, really hurt me. So I obviously have something I need to work on, right? I have a weakness. I found a weakness. The other side of that you can work on is what didn't show up.
Yeah. That
you're happy didn't show up. Right? Like a lot of people, overhead squats. That's a really tough movement for them. We didn't see overhead squats.
Yeah, if you think to yourself, thank God we didn't see handstand push-ups, you should probably be doing handstand push-ups.
Right, exactly. Like if that's all because it didn't show up this year doesn't mean it's not a weakness.
Yeah.
Like there's still weaknesses there. So this is a good opportunity to kind of like reflect, to find, oh, hey, these are my weaknesses, and I need to start putting some focus on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that leads us to kind of like our last point with the weaknesses is, yes, so now that we found them, we want to get better. What we want to do is we want to keep fitnessing. That's my favorite word. Or keep
That's
fitnessing.
A verb.
Yeah. Keep fitnessing. Keep doing your fitness work. Keep doing, what you're doing. But when you have some extra time, put a little bit of extra focus on that weakness.
Yeah.
So for example, if it's gymnastic strength, or maybe like when we're doing our fitnessing stuff, kind of focus on the gymnastic strength.
Yeah.
Like instead of doing pull-ups, kipping pull-ups, do strict pull-ups.
Yep.
Right. And you don't have to do that all the time, but like say every other one, right? I'm going to do strict pull-ups, and then the next one I'll do my regular pull-ups.
Yep. And that's something too where you can talk to a coach and be like, hey, I want to get better at this. What can I sub out in this workout, or how often should I do this, and things like that, and check with the coach, and they'll be able to set you on the right path for that.
Right. And then the other thing would be, you can also set up, like obviously have a conversation with your coach, but if you want like a more extensive plan, what we can do is set up a growth session with myself or Krista, and we can kind of be like, hey, here's a good way to attack this.
Yep.
Here's a better way to attack it, and here's the best way to attack it. And it all depends on how fast you want to get those things.
Yep.
So that's something that you can give a try.
Absolutely. All right. So our second point is fitness is transferable.
I kind of alluded to this earlier.
Yeah.
I think the goal for this open was to make it more accessible to more people. So you saw that in a few ways. You saw it in the programming. You saw it in the new divisions, right? They have the 65 plus division now. They have the adaptive divisions. There's just more people are able to do it.
Yeah.
They had the no equipment version. They had the at home. They had the foundations version. So like, it doesn't matter. It literally didn't matter what level you were at. You were able to do a workout for this. And that is so awesome to be able to just get everybody in. Yep. That being said, all because it was more basic this year, you saw that our fitness is transferable. Like we were talking about Tia.
Yeah.
Tia still crushed that at this open, right? It doesn't matter what the workout is, that fitness will show, right? Your fitness is going to show. And on the other side of that, we had a new movement with the wall walk.
Yeah.
We were very lucky enough we do that relatively frequently. And it shows that people that haven't done that skill, they're still able, like most people, we were, I think, a little bit of an outlier, but most other gyms don't do that movement a lot, but they were still able to do really well because the movements that we do transfer to other movements. Like doing a lot of heavy overhead kettlebell swings is going to help build that shoulder shoulder strength and stamina. So just doing that, if you never did a wall walk, but you did a bunch of kettlebell swings, you're still probably going to be able to do your wall walks.
Yeah.
Right. So it's transferable. Like, and even going the other way, doing an advanced movement, like a handstand walk. Like if you're able to do handstand walks, you probably did all right on the wall walks.
Absolutely. Yeah. And another kind of like side aspect to that is, as an RX athlete, don't look down on the scaled movements. It's not like you won't learn anything from doing them. A lot of people considered wall walks a scaled movement. It's not going to hurt you to do some wall walks if you can already handstand push up and handstand walk.
Now that I think about this, one of my regrets coming up to the Open is we actually, our programming didn't have a lot of pull-ups in it per se, but what it did have a lot of is muscle-ups.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm capable of muscle-ups, so I'm going to do muscle-ups. Well, my chest bars were not great. Not great. So I wish I would have modified, quote-unquote modified, those workouts so that I could have worked on my chest bars a little bit more.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of times when you modify a movement, it lets you move faster. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, that makes it harder. Like a lot of times the modified workouts are harder because you're able to move faster, and moving faster is hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
But I think sorry to break you off, but like a good example would be like, think about doing Grace at 135.
Yeah.
Right. But then think about Grace at doing it at 95.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yes, it's lighter, but
it's not.
You can push to a different level with that weight. And that's where you have to be mentally really tough.
Yeah. So for our third point, we want to touch on looking at your successes and kind of looking back and seeing what did I do well in this year's Open.
I'm not a pessimist. I'm definitely an optimist, but as a coach, I can focus on how to get better almost too much. That was not bad, right? People make fun of me for saying that all the time. That wasn't terrible, so we started off with weaknesses, but you need to be able to look at your successes as well. You need to understand that you did something that most people won't do and are not capable of, and you did it.
Yeah.
And think about how much you pushed yourself more than you regularly would in a standard training workout.
Yeah.
Like I go harder on these. Like this week, I'm taking my intensity down a little bit because it was a lot, especially when I'm redoing the workouts. So it's a lot. You did awesome, and you worked your butt off. So make sure to be mindful of that. And then the second point is how many things did you do that you never thought you were going to be able to do? I know Carly, every single workout that she did, Carly Fisher, every single workout she came in, she's like, oh, I'm doing this. And we're like, yeah, but just try it. Just try it, and then we can dial it back. Mm-hmm. And then guess what she did? She did the thing that she didn't think she was going to be able to do every single time. Even bigger, Sue, she's, I'm not going to say how old she is because that just makes it worse, right? Just by saying that. But Sue came in here, be like, yeah, I can't do a wall walk, right? She's right around 60, and she did a freaking wall walk.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can do that when I'm that age, oh man, I'd over the moon. Like that inspires me to stay active so I can keep doing this for as long as I can, keep living my life as long as I can. Like doing those type of things is so awesome.
Absolutely.
And that's why we do this. That's why our coaches coach, because we like helping people do that.
Yeah. On that note, our fourth point is looking at what your why is, or what is your why.
Yeah. So I'm going to stay with Sue, actually.
Okay.
Sue would not consider herself a competitive person.
Yeah.
She's not competitive. Like, she does her thing and she's going to do her thing. But she still did the Open. And she did it because, one, she enjoys working out in the gym. We were doing it anyway. And, it's helping her get better now. So, I mean, she did something she's never been able to do before. And the Open helped her do that, which is so, so awesome. But on the flip side of that is, if this was your first Open, or it's your third or your fifth or whatever, is it something that you want to keep striving for? Like, a lot of people, it's like, well, I like doing it, but I'm not going to be super competitive about it. That's fine. Some people they like the competitive thing. Like me, I want to see how high of a percentage I can get every time. I want to keep getting better. So like, find your why, and this can help you, give you something else to train for. Like, yes, training for life is really fun, but you can kind of get a little stale sometimes.
Yeah.
So be like, all right, look, my primary goal, my primary objective, my priority is training for life.
Yeah.
But, this Open thing is kind of fun. Sweet atmosphere. I like doing it. Let's see if I can just keep getting better at it.
Yeah.
And it's not something that has to completely change your entire world. You just, put a little extra when you have time to do it, and keep trying to get better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like this thing where you just keep agreeing with me. It's really awesome.
Well,
So random thought here. Guys, message us if you think this might be a good idea, of kind of like a debate, or like not necessarily like a debate, but like, hey.
Well, I mean, aren't we going to have Sam on at some point? Isn't that going to be, that's the same thing.
Right. But like, even if we both agree on something, somebody just takes the counterpoint.
Yeah.
And just kind of talk about
Do
it.
an op-ed.
Yeah. Like low bar versus high bar. Talk about that.
And then we agree on mid bar.
Yeah. And then everybody's like, what the hell are they talking about low bar, high bar?
No, that's the Equity Nerd Podcast, which is a subcategory of
It's a different one. We're going to add a new episode.
The absolutes are scripted. I have to say them. I have to agree.
It's in there.
It's more me. Shut up, Berek. All right, so for our cool down today, we have a couple just general questions that we get often from new members or some more intermediate members.
Yeah, kind of like some frequently asked questions that we get. Yeah.
The first one is kind of a more beginner, sounds derogatory, but it's really,
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's a very common question that we get when people first start.
Yeah, it's a common misconception almost. It's they ask, is squatting bad for my knees?
Yeah, and in short, no.
But there's a lot more. Yeah.
So people think squatting can be bad for your knees. Like, oh, when I squat, it hurts or whatever. Well, you haven't done it. If you go run and you've never ran before, it's going to hurt.
Yep.
Right. Actually, that's going to get into something a little bit later when we talk about it. But generally speaking, your joints are meant to be used with multiple muscle groups. Mm-hmm. Right. So your knee needs both the anterior, your quads, and your posterior, your hamstring, and then even the musculature below the knee to move properly.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, when you're only doing a partial squat, you're only activating the anterior part of your muscles. Now, are your backside working a little bit? Yes. But generally speaking, it's definitely quad dominant. Excuse me. And what that can do is that can create shear on the knee. So a full depth squat is going to let us use both our backside and our front. And that's going to help keep our knees safe. Second thing is, everybody has to sit on the toilet. If you need to sit on the toilet, you need to be able to squat below parallel.
Yeah. Or you probably drove your car here to ask that question.
Right. Yeah. You need to be able to squat below parallel. So we need to train squatting below parallel. Right. We want to be able to get on the ground with our kids. We want to be able to, get up off the ground when we're snowboarding.
Yeah.
You need to be able to squat below parallel. Also, this is kind of like a really not far-fetched, but like a lot of people don't think about this, but one of the leading indicators of if somebody needs help, like if they need to be put into a nursing home or something like that, is leg strength.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot move yourself, if you cannot stand up, you're going to need help.
Yep.
So if you don't have that leg strength, you're going to be needing assistance in some way.
Yeah.
So building that leg strength, working full range of motion is going to keep you independent longer, as long as you can.
And the other thing I'd say about that question is it stems from, no, squatting isn't bad for your knees. The way a lot of people squat can be bad for their knees.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, Joe. That was actually a really nice point. And then also we want to think about technique.
Yeah.
If you have a valgus knee when you're squatting, that's not good. The valgus knee is when your knee collapses in. And just looking at that squat, everybody, I've asked 100% of people that I've asked, hey, does this look like a good squat? And I squat with a valgus knee. They're like, no. And then I squat with my knees over my toes, and they're like, does this look like a good squat? And they're like, yes. So everybody knows what a good squat is, but they're not purposeful when they're squatting and realize that they're squatting poorly.
Yep. And there's so many little things with a movement like that, which is why you come here and get coaches.
Right.
Like even like we were talking about this before the podcast, head position can affect how a squat works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. The old adage, I remember when I was lifting for football, it was head up. It's like, no. Lifting your head up. Maybe we leave this for another one, but
it's not great.
Leaving your head up puts you in overextension. You have a load on your back. Overextension with load is just going to cause problems.
Yeah. All right. Our second question is something, and our final question for the day is something we get from more intermediate athletes fairly often is, can I gain muscle and lose weight at the same time?
And the short answer is yes.
Asterisk.
You can. We see this, and it's definitely possible, especially in the beginner level. Like when you're just starting out, you definitely can. As you get more into the intermediate and advanced levels, yes, you still can, but it's going to be really slow. It's going to be really slow because to do both, you kind of need a maintenance style nutrition plan. And in order to lose fat, you need less calories. In order to gain muscle, you need more. So it's ideally, if we're trying to, we do like little peaks and cycles through that, but it is possible to do both. It's going to take longer. It's going to take a long time.
Maintenance, that is almost more for when you're like 80 or 90% of the way where you want to be, and you're just tapering and finishing off to get to that exact spot. For like when we talk about like in a workout or whatever, if you want to focus a particular movement or something, you like weight that a little bit heavier and you substitute things in workouts. You'd advocate that more so if you want to get somewhere quicker as far as losing weight or gaining muscle, vice versa.
Exactly. Like if the whole thing, how fast do you want to get somewhere? If you want to get stronger, we need to focus on the strength. Now, that being said, people are going to think gaining muscle, they're going to think bulking. They're going to think, oh, I can eat whatever I want. Yeah, that's not how that works. Basically, when we're bulking, you're going to eat whatever you're normally eating for cutting or for maintenance, and you're just going to add a very little bit, like maybe 100 calories to 2 meals or maybe even just 1 meal. Like, it's not a lot. Like, Michelle was trying to bump up a little bit. She was trying to work on her strength, and she just kind of was eating kind of whatever, and she started not being like super happy with where she was at, and we kind of talked about her nutrition, and we were like, all right, well, what we need to do is bring that back, and like we just need to add a little bit. And she was doing the calculation. She's like, yeah, I need to add like 12 almonds to my meal, and that's it. Not like, oh, I can eat rice and then have a cookie afterwards and have some goldfish. It's like, no, you have like 12 more almonds. And that's being a little over dramatic, but like it's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's smaller than most people think. And that being said, like cutting can be the same way. We don't want to cut from 2,000 down to 12.
No.
That's bad.
You will crash.
Right? You want to count 2,000 to like 19 or 1850 or, just 100, 200 calories.
Yeah.
Right. Not a lot.
All right, so that's going to be it for us today, guys. Like, subscribe. We're on anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're on YouTube, and we're on our blog.
Yeah.
If you have questions, if you're in the Facebook group, shoot your questions there.
We just want to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
We're just like in the gym, we want to try and get better. We're trying to make this better as well.
Yep.
So like, if we don't hear from you guys, we don't know what you want to hear. So,
new hosts. I mean, what?
let us know. Let us know.
Absolutely.
We want to get better at this, and let us know how we can help serve you guys.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.
See ya.